China is for China. China is not for Africa. How can an African be a foreigner in an African country? To gain mentality, we need to let go of the influence of the West, who are still colonized under white supremacists. All right, good morning, good afternoon, good day, wherever you are. This is your host, Maneza F8. Welcome to FKU Africa Podcast. Make sure that you subscribe to the podcast so that you can get everything that is coming in the next episodes. You will be alerted if you ring the bell. Make sure you also check the episode on Apple Podcasts, also on Spotify. Just search FKU Africa Podcast in both platforms and get the podcast as it comes. So today we're going to be talking about the topic that is really important in the unification of Africa, in fighting against poverty, in financial freedom that we so dearly need as Africans. We're going to be talking on how to involve the youth in the political structure, in the financial structure, and also we're going to be touching on the significance of the youth throughout the years up until now. So the way that we can see it in a way that the future, it depends on the people that will be on the future. We cannot expect people who are not going to be here in the next 50 years to structure the way we're going to be living in the next 50 years. As a result, things are changing. Technologies are changing. The way of markets are changing. Those things need to change with time. So the people that they really understand these changes are the youth. That's why we need, as the nation, the whole African nation, we need to invest in the youth. The youth need to invest into themselves. I choose to talk about the youth because I'm the youth. The youth of these days, they don't prioritize. They don't seem to understand what it is that they need to do to have what they require or what they need. They don't seem to understand the importance of building your own wealth. Because you might think that you are building your own wealth by working at someone else's company. But trust me, you are not. You are not building your wealth. You are not building your brother's wealth, your children's wealth, your great-grandchildren that for the years to come. You're only working to survive. We need to change the way we are thinking. Building your own wealth is important. You can only build your own wealth by involving yourself into businesses. Start something small. Draw it. Learn. Investigate. If it doesn't work, start something else. How many times did the people who are wealthy today, the people who are successful business people, had to fail before their product come to light? Bill Gates did it. Steve Jobs did it. Mark Zuckerberg did it. But look where they are now. All those people started by failing before. They didn't just wake up and their platforms were there and they became rich. No, it was a struggle. So we need to involve in a changing of mind. You must involve yourself in a way that you change your thinking. You change the way that you view how life it is supposed to be. Life is not supposed to be easier. You're not supposed to go to school, go to work, go into groceries, and eat and drink, and that's it. You want to tell yourself that you lived. What have you done for yourself? You must stop being lazy. The youth need to stop being lazy. You can't go around and say there are no jobs. What am I gonna do? But how many people that came from China, from India, from all these countries, all the way to Africa, and they are working, but you are not working because you don't like that kind of a job. If you don't have a job, there should be no job that you cannot opt for. If you do not have a job, anything that comes your way, you take it until you get something better, until you better yourself, you build yourself from the ground. As I see now, we expect things to just come out from heaven. Nothing will come from heaven. You need to work for whatever you want in order for you to have it. We as the youth of Africa, we neglected only one thing. And this thing is costing us dearly. We neglected the love. We don't share love for our brothers. We don't share love for our sisters. We don't share love for ourselves. That's why now you see these young men and these young boys getting involved in beating up women, robbing the elders, robbing each other because they lacked that love. We need to come up with the way that we embrace ourselves. We take away that divide and rule that was given to us as a gift from our slave masters. They gave us that gift and we embraced it. We tend to live with it. We tend to let us lead it, to let it lead us, lead our emotions, because they divided us and put it into our brains that we are here as this kind of tribe, that other tribe doesn't matter. It's because that's the way that our white people are living. They don't do families. They don't do tribes. They don't even have tribes. They don't do that. Every man is for himself. That's what they wanted to install to us. That's what we need to break away from. At least we still have our nationalities that we claim and we protect. But now we need to have our Africanism. That's what's important for us. We need to have the Africanism, not our nationalism. Nationalism is just the beginning. Tribalism is the beginning. But Africanism, that's the way to go. We cannot move forward until we unite and have that Africanism. And that will to help, that will to see a brother in need and want to help, and don't see a brother in need and just laugh. You must have it in you. It must eat you. When you see something that is wrong, someone that is hungry, someone that is dressed up and the way that is not appropriate, it must burn inside you. It must burn that this is wrong, this is my brother, I must help out. We need to come to that way of thinking as Africans. So back in the 1900s, It was the youth that started the revolution. Many revolutions that led into freeing Africa. The ANC was started by the youth. The Youth League was the one that brought so much change into dynamics of apartheid in South Africa. The one that led Nelson Mandela and his fellow comrades into prison. It was the youth. It was the youth that changed the game in 1976 in South Africa. That the school children marched from Soweto, marched against being taught in Afrikaans, and that march made a very huge turn up, a very huge impact in changing the way that the oppressor sees that us. In early 60s, it was the youth in Libya that changed the game. That was led by the Colonel Muammar Gaddafi. Those soldiers saw the situations that Libya was in. People were living in the desert. People were living in the tents. I wish you can go to my last episode that is named "The Africans Greatest Lost." You will watch more about Muammar Gaddafi. So the youth is the turning point. In Ghana, in the times of Kwame Nkrumah, it was the youth that was backing him, that was challenging the authority. In Zimbabwe, in the times of Mugabe, it was the youth that was backing him, that was raising the voice. The youth of today need to change the narrative. The youth of today needs to get into businesses. We need, as the youth of today, to change the financial approach of things, because the political aspect is already a long stretch, but the financial one is not a long stretch in any way. That's where we can change the game. We combine our resources from South Africa to Nigeria, from Nigeria to Sierra Leone, from Sierra Leone to Madagascar, from Madagascar to Morocco. We make the chain. We make our environment in a way that the money is circulating in us, so that we can be able to make change in the communities with that money. You can build our own community without relying to the government. We put this money to build the children's park there, to build houses there, to build the roads there, we build schools there. We change our life in our own. But without that unity, that is never going to happen. So it's time. It must happen. Not tomorrow. Not in the day after tomorrow. It must happen now. We will never get anywhere without that unity as Africans, as the youth. South Africans got this mindset of thinking that when other Africans come to South Africa, they came for their jobs. What jobs do they come up for? These jobs that you don't want as a youth, are you talking about those jobs? Because the youth of South Africa, they are so high in their horses that they don't recognize when the things is in front of them until someone else make it shine brighter, and then they would want to claim it. The youth of South Africa never wanted to go to work in the farms. The youth of South Africa, most of them, they didn't want to go and work in the garages. They didn't want to work in the shops and clean. They didn't want to go work in the hospice, in the hospital, and clean shit from the old women and the sick people. And then the brothers and sisters from other countries, from Zimbabwe, from Malawi, from Ghana, from Nigeria, they came and occupied those vacancies that we didn't want. And now we're saying they are taking our jobs, the jobs that we didn't want in the first place. Is that what you are saying? Because most of those brothers, they didn't come here and occupy the jobs in the offices. There are very minimal ones that are working in the offices, in the government offices. You want a certain job, and that job is not filled by any brother or sister from Africa. It's filled by Africans. The job that you don't want is there. There will be never enough people to work in the farms. Farms are very big. There will be never enough people to work in the garages. People live every day. There will be never enough people working in the chicken factories where it's cold from your bone to the teeth. There will be never enough people who will work in the restaurants, in the night shift. There's too much, but you are sitting in your house and saying, I cannot do that job. That job is not for me. And go on Twitter and say, foreigners, they come here and take our jobs. Put South Africa first. Give South Africans the jobs. The jobs that we neglected. We must start to think. We must change the way. We should build ourselves and not embracing working for other people. We must come together as Africa. It's time for us as Africans to come together and change the narrative. So without saying so much, I hope you put this thought into yourself. What can I do as an African to unite Africans, to unite Africans financially, to unite Africans politically, to unite Africans socially, so that as Africans we can move forward as one and build our economy and build our community, so we can build our communities. I would say there are many ways we can do it, but please leave the comment on the comment here on YouTube, and also on, if you are on listening now on Spotify, you just hit me up on Facebook, or hit me up on Twitter or IG. Just DM me. Let's talk. Let's see what we can do, because we need to have those conversations. Let's support each other. My music is out on all platforms: Spotify, iTunes, Amazon. Search Maneza F8 Salvation. Get that album. Listen to it on YouTube, and just leave your comments. Let's subscribe. It's important. It's for free. You don't need to pay anything. Hit that subscribe button if you already have an account. If you don't, just log in and hit subscribe. Add those numbers so we can attract a lot of people we can engage with. We can have those interviews going, but now since we are in this quarantine, it's hard to organize interviews because of also the bad internet that we are having. It's really hard, so we want to give you proper content. So yeah, without wasting any of your time, fikiria kwa undani, ndugu, tamaku, check this video here, and check this one here, Muammar Gaddafi, and check this one, the one that it's got the history of Africa, the things that they don't want to teach you, that they never teach you at school.